Hello, good evening, folks. Today I just wanted to come on and talk about trauma, trauma and the mother wound. The mother wound, like, what is that? A lot of people haven't heard of the mother wound, but it is a real thing. And what I mean by the mother wound is that we have lots of women and men. There's also a father wound, but the mother wound specifically is what I want to get into. And we as women, some of us, a lot of us, walk around with lots of trauma in our DNA. Because if you know that if a person is traumatized, whether it be mentally, whether it be physically, sexually, um, verbally, our bodies begin to, at a cellular level, remember. Your mind may have blocked certain things out, but your body remembers things and it stores it. So we in turn start to act out in certain behaviors. We also begin to start, you know, seeing certain patterns in our lives, repeating themselves. So one of the topics with the mother wound is having relationship issues. A lot of times when you have a mother wound, a lot of women do not know how to function in relationships um, because of this wound. It's such a deep wound. A lot of our mothers abandoned us. A lot of our mothers were alcoholics. A lot of our mothers were verbally abusive. A lot of our mothers were emotionally abusive. Or what I mean by the emotional abuse, sometimes mothers weren't there for their daughters emotionally. They didn't teach their daughters things. It was more so um, they may have provided for you financially, but as far as being there for their daughter, um, they lacked that trait because they did not really have that. They didn't understand that. They didn't grow up with that, because a lot of times our parents, we have to understand our parents, our friends, our loved ones, whoever it is, they they were wounded themselves. So a lot of times, you know, an adult woman could be 35, 45, 55, 65 years old, but still operating at a level of a 12-year-old, because she didn't receive proper care from her own mother. So in turn, she didn't instill those certain values, um, or child rearing to her daughters in a loving manner. She was very harsh, or just very, or absentee. You know, the emotional mother wound also, or the physical wound, whatever wound it, however uh, the mother was or how she behaved, it does stifle the growth of a female. And in turn, that energy that she gives her daughter makes the girl become hardened. you know so if you ever see women who can't give to a man, or who can't open up, or who can't be um, soft, is because she has had so much negative energy, or I would say not even negative energy, but toxic energy that she's had to deal with. So in turn, she has built such a wall for herself that she protects herself from. And it's kind of, once you build that wall, it's very hard to have that come down, because now I'm protecting myself against any and everything. And someone may even have good intentions, but you can't quite receive those good things, because you've either been told, how, or you may feel like you've been unattractive, you're not good enough, whatever you have been told growing up, or lack thereof. So you may not have the self-esteem that you need, because it's imperative that women build women up. because we're walking around with a lot of a lot of traumatized women, black or white, but specifically I'm speaking to my sisters here. Within the black community, I feel like a lot of mothers um, feel as though feel as though they own their children in an unhealthy way. And what I mean by that ownership is, hey, I brought you into this world, I can take you out of this world type of behavior, or you're my child, I can speak to you any kind of way that I want to, and you're never to say anything. We are to respect our elders to a degree that is detrimental to us. And sometimes these people that are older than us need their ass cussed the fuck out. So, but we are automatically to respect people who disrespect us just because they brought us into this world, or just because they're family members, or so on and so forth. But a toxic family member sometimes doesn't deserve that respect, because if they are constantly belittling you, or putting you in a place of discomfort within yourself, there is a way to address that situation. And so that brings me to my next topic, which is infantilization. And infantilization is when a parent is constantly looking at their daughter um, as less than, or not even necessarily less than. It's always as a child. And a lot of times, women of toxic mothers, they are looked at by their mothers as, that's still my child. I can say what I want to. I can do what I want to. I can be what I want to, and they will still have to respect me, because in their eyes, you have not grown up to be an adult, and you may not behave in certain aspects as an adult because they raised you. So therefore, they kept you from learning certain things that you needed to learn uh, to prepare you for this world. So in a sense, that kind of keeps you kind of like, trapped. But there's always room for growth. And once you learn more about trauma and your traumatic experience, because a lot of times people feel like love should hurt, or just because, they're family, you should just accept behaviors. And yes, I always kind of say, instead of praying always to try to fix other people, pray for yourself that you can deal with these people and learn how to be your whole healed self in their presence. Um, if you're a person that just says, you know what, I don't want to cut my family off, it's still my family. Some people go and just cut their family completely off. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times, toxic mothers don't know that they're toxic. Um, a lot of times, mothers have boyfriends and husbands that abuse them verbally, mentally, physically. And when you grow up in a household like that, you become desensitized as women by these things. And so, 9 times out of 10, you become also a magnet for those types of men, because you have the trait now. You now have seen this, and your mother has kind of groomed you, because you can't speak, especially if you're in these toxic situations and these toxic relationships, and you grew up like that. In families like ours, they say, oh, you know what happens in this family stays in this family. And that is what is continuously perpetuating this sickness. We can't heal unless we uncover what is hidden deep down and what's going on within these families. So 9 times out of 10, the mother will not help the daughter um, emotionally, because she hasn't helped herself emotionally. She feels as if this is normal, to go through these things within a marriage or relationship. So she's not going to help her daughter, because by the time her daughter grows up, she's then envious of her daughter. If she has sons, she's going to treat the son as if the son is a husband, or if not the husband, she is going to more so cater to the son and neglect the daughter, or treat the daughter as if she is more, treat her as if she is more masculine, make them do all the work, make them, or kick them out of the house early. So then, the daughter kind of grows up with this resentment towards her mother, and she becomes promiscuous, and the mother then resents the daughter for it. So there are so many scenarios where we grow up in society where mothers are very toxic because their mother didn't treat them worth a damn, or they saw lots of things in their family and they thought that it was normal. So then they birth children and they're harming them in the same way. So that's what I would say generational curses are. Generational curses is just simply behavior, taught, trained behavior. So if on top of, if you end up in one of the types of relationships that you saw that your mother in, um, let's add spiritual abuse to it. Let's say you grew up in the church, and many times when you grow up in the church, it's the you grow up in the church and your abuser is going to church. You know what I'm saying? So there's this mask there that tells women, okay, you know what? In this patriarchal society, the patriarchal abuse of power traps the woman because they feel like this is my godly duty to stay with my husband. At least I got a husband, whatever. If you're being abused by that person, you should get out, or you should, try to find ways for you to get out, because God gave us intuition. And once you have that intuition and you tap into, yourself, and you know God for yourself, I think that you'll begin to start healing and seeking the help that you need to have. So a lot of us are functioning in trauma. A lot of things have been traumatic for us as Black women, and some of our brothers don't understand it or just can't empathize with it because they are also suffering from the mother wound. And the mother wound, for them, they're the ones that become the abusers as well, because every woman to them is like their mother. You know what I'm saying? So they really have an issue with their mother. And that's why they start to treat women that way, because once you have a mother who is a healed mother, I know all mothers aren't perfect, but she can teach her son and instill in her son, the values of being a good man and how to treat a woman and how to treat a lady. But if that mother has been wounded by her own father, this just goes, the list goes on and on and on. But that was just a snippet that I had today, and I just wanted to kind of talk about trauma and talk about that unhealed mother wound, and how mothers can sometimes look at their daughters and harbor hatred or jealousy towards them, especially once they start to grow up and have their own families, because they lose that control that they have over them, especially once they become healed. So if you are a woman looking at this today, I would ask that you start to kind of look into your family and look at yourself firstly, and see if some of the things that I mentioned in this video pertain to you. And if not, just let it fly. All right. I hope this is a blessing to someone, and peace.